Hello students, this is Sriram Triveni, a lecturer in botany. Today we will discuss about the topic technical description of a flower. In previous video I told about the technical description of a flower and some more topic is there. So for the continuation of this topic we are going to discuss. So this topic is already explained in the previous video. From the next topic we will discuss today, that is about stamens. So this is our topic today. Attachment of the anther to the filament. Attachment of the anther to the filament. Those are innate or basifixed, and next one is adnate, next dorsifixed, next versatile. Okay, so these are innate or basifixed, adnate, dorsifixed and versatile. So here is a basifixed anther when the filament is firmly attached to the base of the anther. This is the base part. This is a filament. So this is the base part of anther and this is the filament. The filament is firmly attached to the base part of the anther is called as basifixed. That is, example is Solanum species. And next one is adnate. When the filament running the whole length of the anther from the base to the apex is called as adnate anther. Okay, here these are the anther lobes. So this is the filament. This filament is running the whole length of the anther. This is the whole length of the anther. This is the anther. This is the whole length. So here the filament running to the whole length of the anther from the base to the apex. Base to the apex is called as adnate anther. Next one is dorsifixed. Dorsifixed means when the filament attached to the back of the anther. This is the anther. This is the back part of the anther. This is the front part of the anther. So at the back part of the anther, the filament is firmly attached. Okay, that is called as dorsifixed. Example is Bauhinia. Example is Bauhinia variegata. And next one is versatile anther. Filament attached to the back of the anther at a point only. At a point only. Point only, so that the latter can swing freely. What is the difference between dorsifixed and versatile? In the versatile, the filament is attached at the back of a point, at a point. Okay, and this totally the anther is freely, okay, freely, swing freely. But there is no facility, the swinging facility in the dorsifixed anther. So that is the difference between dorsifixed and versatile. The versatile anthers can swing freely, but there is no facility in the dorsifixed. Okay, when the filament attached to the back of the anther is called as dorsifixed, and the filament attached to the back of the anther at a particular point only, so that the latter can be swing very freely. Okay, that type of anthers are called as versatile anthers. Example is Graminae family. So this is basifixed, adnate, dorsifixed and versatile. If in the practical examinations, if the lecturer will give the flower, we have to observe the flower and observe the stamens and the filaments anthers and write about that is a what type of anthers present in that particular flower, that is basifixed or adnate or dorsifixed or versatile. Okay, so basifixed means the filament attached at the base of the anther is called as basifixed. Basifixed. Okay, ma? Next one is adnate. Filaments running through the whole length of the anther. Whole length of the anther. Next one is dorsifixed. The filament attached at the back of the anther. Okay, versatile, the filament attached at a particular point, attached back of the anther at a particular point only, so that lateral can swing freely. This type of filaments are called as versatile. Next one is dehiscence pattern of stamen. Dehiscence patterns of stamen. These are porous, and longitudinal. The pollens, this is the anther and the lobes. Pollen released through the pores, that is called as porous. These are the anther lobes, and the lobes having a pores. These yellow color parts are called as pores. These are the pores. Okay, the pollen grains released through the pores is called as porous. Example, brinjal and potato. Next one is longitudinal dehiscence. Pollens released through the longitudinal slit. It is a longitudinal slit of anther lobes. Okay, ma? So from this longitudinal slits, pollen grains are released outside. Okay. Examples are China rose and cotton. So in the dehiscence patterns of stamens, this is the porous and this is the longitudinal. In the porous, the pollen grains are released through these pores. In the longitudinal, pollen grains are released through the longitudinal slit of anther lobes. These yellow color parts of the anther lobes. Example are China rose and cotton. Okay. So we had completed about the topic stamens, and then we will go to the next topic, that is very important topic, that is gynoecium. So gynoecium is a female sex organs, already you know that. So the gynoecium, this is also called as pistil, is the fourth essential whorl of the flower and may be made up of one or more carpels. Okay, a carpel has three distinct parts. So we already know that they are ovary, style and stigma. Okay, ovary, style and stigma. This is a ovary and this is a style and this is a stigma. Style and stigma. This is a ovary. In the ovary, ovules are present like this. So this is a carpel. A carpel has three distinct parts: ovary, style and stigma. The lowermost swollen fertile part of the carpel is called as, it is a swollen part is called as ovary, It encloses the ovules. Inside the ovary, ovules are present. Above the ovary, a long thread-like structure called as attached to the apex of the ovary is called as style. The style ends with a round sticky end is called as stigma. The stigma, style, ovary, ovules. Okay. A sterile pistil is known as pistil load. Some pistils are sterile means that these are not participated in the sexual reproduction. The sterile pistil is known as pistil loads. The number of carpels in a gynoecium vary in different flowers. Okay. Accordingly, the gynoecium may be described as monocarpellary, bicarpellary, tricarpellary and tetracarpellary. Mono means 1, bi means 2, tri means 3, tetra means 4, penta means 5, multi means number of, so many. Okay, based on the carpels. So monocarpellary means it is a ovary with single carpel. Okay, ovary with single carpel is called as monocarpellary. Example is bean. And the second one is bicarpellary. So it is the presence of two carpels in a ovary. Okay, two carpels in a ovary. Example is solanum. So here are the pictures showing number of carpels in the ovary. So it is a bicarpellary. This is a section, transverse section. In the longitudinal section, it is looking like this, but is a transverse section. This is looking like this. In all the pictures, both the sections are there, both the longitudinal and transverse sections are there. This is a longitudinal section. This is a transverse section. Longitudinal, transverse, longitudinal, transverse, longitudinal, TS. Okay. So monocarpellary means it has presence of only single carpel, and bicarpellary means it is presence of two carpels like this. So in the ovary, two carpels are present like this. Okay. Next one is tricarpellary. It is the presence of three carpels, 1, 2 and 3. Three carpels. So in these locules, ovules are present like this. These are the locules. Inside the locule, ovules are present. Okay, ma. Next one is tricarpellary. Tri means 3. The presence of 3 carpels in a ovary. In 3 carpels. Example, coccus. Next one is tricarpellary. It is the presence of 4 carpels. So 4 carpels like this, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 locules are present. In the 4 locules, ovules are present like this. Okay, ovules are arranged like this in the ovary. Okay, next one is pentacarpellary. Presence of 5 carpels like this, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 carpels. Example is hibiscus. Next one is multicarpellary. Is presence of many carpels. Example is annona. Next one, coefficients of carpels. So if a number of carpels is more than 1, they may be apocarpus or syncarpus. What is apocarpus and what is syncarpus? We have to know. This is very important. So the apocarpus means carpels are free. Carpels are free. Each carpel has its own style and stigma. Okay, ma? This type of arrangement is called as apocarpus. Okay. Example is rose. So here we have to observe is carpels are free. Carpels are free. Each carpel has its own style and a own stigma. Next, syncarpus. Syncarpus means carpels are united like this. Carpels are united like this. Example, lady's finger and tomato. These are the pictures showing syncarpus. Okay. So the ovary encloses 1 to more chambers called as locules. Usually the number of locules in a syncarpus ovary corresponds to the number of carpels. Okay ma? Sometimes the number of locules may be doubled. Example in Dattara. Okay. The gynoecium is bicarpellary syncarpus with 4 locules in the ovary. Bicarpellary syncarpus with 4 locules in the ovary. Based on the number of locules, the ovary may be described as uniloculary, biloculary, triloculary, tetraloculary, pentaloculary and multiloculary. So the name indicates that uni means 1, bi means 2, tri means 3, tetra means 4, penta means 5 and multi means number of. Like that of carpels, these are also divided like this. So monocarpellary belongs to the carpels, that is the term used monocarpellary, bicarpellary, tricarpellary, tetracarpellary, pentacarpellary and multicarpellary. So now we are knowing the based on the locules. So those are unilocular, bilocular, tri, tetra, penta and multilocular. So uni means 1 locule, the ovary with 1 locule. Example, dolichos. Bilocular means presence of 2 locules in the ovary. Example, solanum. And trilocular means 3 locules in the ovary. Example, allium. And tetra means ovary with 4 locules. Example, datura. Pentaloculary, ovary with 5 locules. Example, hibiscus. Multiloculary, ovary with many locules. Example, abetyllon. Next one, the important topic is placentation. Placentation is very essential This is placentation. Observe the picture and identify what type of placentation it is. Just observe the picture. The placentation refers to the arrangement of ovules within the ovary. Okay, placentation refers to the arrangement of ovules within the ovary. Okay, ma. So, the ovules attach to the ovarian walls through special structures called placenta. Ovules attached to the ovules attached to the walls of the ovary through the special structures called placenta. Okay, so this arrangement is called as placentation. Okay, ma, placentation. So different types of placentations are there. So this is a marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, and free central placentation, and basal placentation. Okay, basal, free central, parietal, axial, marginal. Axial, marginal. Okay ma. First one is marginal placentation. The pictures are showing the placentation here. So the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral surface of the ovary, ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovules are born on the ridge. Is called as marginal placentation. Example for the marginal placentation is P. Just observe the diagram and draw it now. So the placenta forms a ridge. So on the ridge, ovules are arranged like this. The ovules are arranged like this. This is the margin. This is the margin. The ovules are arranged like this. Okay ma. This is called as marginal placentation. On the marginal placentation, margins of the placenta and the ovary, margins of the ovary, the ovules are arranged. Next one is axial placentation. The ovary is partitioned into several chambers or locules, and the placenta are born along the septa of the ovary. Along the septa of the ovary is called as axial placentation. In the axial placentation, these are the three locules. So locules and placenta born along the septa of the ovary. These are the one septa, second septa, third septa. So the ovules are arranged like this. Okay, ovules are arranged like this along with the septa. So septa is present in the axial placentation. Okay ma, along with the septa, the ovules are arranged. Okay, the ovary is partitioned into several locules and the placenta are born along the septa of the ovary. Example, tomato and China rose. Next one is parietal placentation. The ovules developed on the inner wall of the ovary or in the peripheral part. This is the inner wall or peripheral part. Okay ma, this is the inner wall or peripheral part of the ovary. So the ovary unilocular, only single locule is present, but in some cases becomes two chambers due to the formation of false septum. Okay ma, not only all species, exemptions are there. Only in the mustard forming the false septa and inside the ovary and form the and look like the two chambers. Okay, so in the parietal placentation, the ovules are arranged on the inner walls of the ovary or on the peripheral part of the ovary is called as parietal placentation. Next one is free central placentation. The name indicates that free in the central part of the ovary. What are free? Ovules are free in the center part of the ovary is called as free central placentation. Here is the picture showing. This is the center part of the ovary. The ovules arranged on a central axis and septa are absent. So what is the difference between axial placentation and free central placentation? In the free central placentation, there is no septa formation, but in the axial placentation, septa septa is present. So that is the difference between axial placentation and parietal placentation, precentral placentation. In the axial placentation there is a septa, and the precentral participation placentation there is no septa. Okay ma. And next one is basal placentation. Placenta develops at the base of the ovary is called as basal placentation. Placenta developed at the base of the ovary is called as basal placentation. This is the base part of the ovary, and this is the ovary. This is the ovule. This is the base part of the ovary. On the base part of the ovary, ovule is attached. So this type of placentation is called as basal placentation. Example is sunflower. Okay ma. So this is about the placentation. Marginal placentation. Marginal placentation means presence of the ovules are present at the margins or the ventral suture of the ovary. And the axial placentation means the ovary is partitioned into several chambers. Chambers is also called as locules, and the placenta are born along the septa of the ovary. That is, examples are tomato and China rose. Next one is parietal placentation. The ovules develops on the inner wall of the ovary or on the parietal part. In this slide, the third diagram showing the parietal placentation. The ovary unilocular, but in some cases becomes two chambers due to the formation of false septum. Example is mustard. This is the precentral placentation. Ovules born on the central axis and septa are absent. Example, carnation and chili. Next one is basal placentation. Placenta developed at the base of the ovary is called as basal placentation. Example is sunflower. Observe the precentral placentation and basal placentation and the other diagrams. Next one is style. The stalk-like structure present above the ovary is called as style. The stalk-like structure present above the ovary. This is a ovary. This is a ovary, style and stigma. So stalk-like structure present above the ovary is called as style. So this is style. This is ovary. This is stigma. Okay. The style may be long in datura or short in grasses or absent in some species, that is papaver. Okay. In the family Umbelliferae, that is also called as Apiaceae, and the base of the style is swollen and form a structure called stylopodium. Okay ma. In the Apiaceae family, the base of the style is swollen. This is the base of the style. The style is swollen like this and form a structure called stylopodium. Okay, because the formation of style formed from style, so that it is named as stylopodium. There are three types of styles. There are described here. Kinds of styles, that is a terminal style, lateral style and gynobasic style. Terminal, lateral and gynobasic style. So here this is a, if the style arises from the terminal part of the ovary, it is called as terminal style. Example, datura, hibiscus and stolonum. What is the terminal part of the ovary ma? This is the terminal part and this is the basal part. So this is the style and this is the stigma. So style arises from the terminal part. This is the terminal part na. So the style is arises from the terminal part of the ovary is called as terminal style. Okay ma. Examples are Datura, hibiscus and solanum. Next one is lateral style. So the name indicates that the style arises from one side of the ovary. It is called as lateral style. Example is mango. So this is the ovary. So this is the lateral part. This is the lateral part and this is the lateral part. So the style arises from the one side of the ovary is called as lateral style. This is a style and this is a stigma. This is a ovary. So this is seen in the mango. So lateral style. Next one is gynobasic style. Gynobasic style. So gynobasic means the style arises from the base of the ovary. Base of the ovary is called as gynobasic style. Example is ocimum and salvia. So this is the base part of the ovary. So from the base part of the ovary style is arises. This is a stigma, bifid stigma. So example for the gynoblastic style is ocimum and salvia. Ocimum and salvia. The picture showing the gynobasic style. Next one is stigma. So what is the stigma? This is the style, this is the ovary style and this part is stigma. So we will explain about this part. The terminal pollen receptive portion of the style is called as stigma. Right now, the terminal part of the ovary style is called as stigma, and the stigma collected the or receive the pollen grains. So the terminal pollen receptive portion of the style is called as stigma. In this drawing clearly showing the stigma. Stigma is, this is the stigma, this is the stigma, this is a capitate stigma, this is simple stigma. So now it receives pollen grains during the pollination. So this is the main work of the stigma. Usually lobes of the stigma equal to the number of carpels. Okay ma, lobes of the stigma is equals to the number of the carpels. If the stigma may be uniphyete, biphyete, triphyete, tetraphyete, pentaphyete or multiphyete. So here are the picture showing that is a capitate stigma. Capitate stigma means a round stigma. Example of hibiscus. Observe the diagrams ma. Round stigma is called as capitate stigma. Forked stigma, divided stigma is called as forked stigma. This is a divided stigma. Example, Triadax. Okay. Now next one, feathery stigma means a brush like stigma is called as feathery stigma. Example, grasses. Okay ma, this is about stigma. Next one we will go to the floral formula. Floral formula is very essential for writing the floral formula for the families. The first one is BR. BR. BR indicate that is a bracteate flower. BR indicate that is a bracteate flower. EBR means ebracteate, that is bracts are absent. If you observe the flower that contain the bracts, you have to write BR. If the bracts are absent, you have to write EBR. Next one, K for calyx. Polysepalous means KN. Gamosepalous means N in brackets. Write K like this, N like this, and put brackets. This means gamosepalous. This means gamosepalous. C means corolla. CN means polypetalous. CN in brackets means gamopetalous. So write C like this and write N and put in the brackets. So that is the gamopetalous. P for perianth. A for androecium. So you have to write the androecium number in below the A. If your stamens are 5, stamens are like this. If stamens are united, you have to write like this. If stamens are 9 plus 1, that is you have to write 9 plus 1 like this. Okay, ma. Next one, G for androecium. G for gynoecium. G below the dash is superior ovary. Superior ovary. Superior. The gynoecium is in superior position. So that you have to write a dash below the G, below the gynoecium. And the inferior ovary means the floral parts are present above the gynoecium is called as inferior ovary. So you have to write like this. Dash means indicate the floral parts, ma. These are the floral parts. This is the gynoecium. This is the ovary. These are the floral parts. This is the gynoecium. These are the floral parts. Okay. So gynoecium is superior position. The gynoecium is inferior position. Okay. These are the floral parts. So that you have to write dash symbol below the ovary, below the G and above the G. If you write the below the G, that is a superior ovary. So inferior ovary is above the gynoecium. We put the mark dash. Okay. This is a male flower. Male flower. This is a female flower symbol. Bisexual means having both the male and the female sex organs. So this is a bisexual flower symbol. Okay. Next one is actinomorphic flower. This is a actinomorphic flower based on the symmetry. Okay, ma. This is a zygomorphic flower. You put the symbol like this. Okay. Next one is bracteate. Bracteate means BR. Bracteolate means BRL. Ebracteolate means EBR. Ebracteolate means EBRL. This is a male flower, female flower. So if you write like this, okay, ma. Next, actinomorphic, zygomorphic, epicalyx. K for calyx free, K united, calyx united. So put your bracket K put in your brackets. Next, corolla free means write C like this. Corolla united, put in brackets. Corolla cruciform, CX. P for perianth, A for androecium free, A put in your brackets. Androecium is united. Epiphyllous means perianth and the anther lobes are united like this. Epipetalous. Okay. Corolla and androecium C and A are united like this. Gynoecium is free, G. Gynoecium is united, put in the bracket. Just you remember one thing. If the structures are free, write like this only. Write like this only. If the structures are united, we have to put bracket symbols. Okay, superior ovary, inferior ovary, and gynostegium. Gynostegium means arrangements is like this, attached to the androecium. Gynoecium is attached to the androecium like that. Okay ma, these are the floral formula shortcut forms. We have to write like this only. Okay, so next one is some important part is there, that is if the coming to the corolla, if the number of corolla calyx, you have to write the number also. K for calyx, and what are the number of calyx? If the calyx sepals are 4, you have to write 4. If sepals are 5, you have to write 5. If sepals are fused, K and write 4 and put in the brackets. Okay, this is about the calyx. And the corolla, the petals are 4 like 4. If you observe 5 petals, you have to write like this, C5. And if united petals are there, write brackets. Okay, if you observe the perianth, write P. Perianth 3 petals, 3 tepals, P5. 5 fused tepals, P5 within the bracket. 6 tepals in 2 whorls, 3 plus 3. P3 plus 3 like this. Okay ma. So as well as androecium and gynoecium also you have to like that. A for androecium, 5 free stamens, 5 fused stamens, 10 stamens in 2 whorls, that means 5 plus 5. Stamens absent, A0. Stamens indefinite numbers, so A infinity. Stamens epipetalous like this, stamens epiphyllous like this. And write about the gynoecium. G for the gynoecium, G3 5 carpels, 3 brackets fused carpels, G0 carpels absent, G within the brackets 2 and below the dash 2 fused carpels, superior ovary, G3 3 fused carpels, semi inferior ovary. So G2 on dash above the G 2 fused carpels, inferior ovary. Okay ma. This is the floral diagram. We have to draw the floral diagram also like this. This is the bract. This is the so you have to write this is actinomorphic flower or zygomorphic flower based on the symmetry. You have to put the bract like this. This is the bract, and these are the sepals. The inside the sepals petals are present. These are the stamens, and this is the gynoecium. Ovary position, ovules, ovary, locula, locules, and arrangement of ovules, that is placentation, is draw like this ma. Okay, this is about the floral diagram. These are the bract. Okay, these are bracteoles. This green color part, this type of light colored is called as sepals. These dark colors are petals. Okay ma, this is actinomorphic and showing are zygomorphic. This is the floral diagram. Okay ma. So and hypogynous, perigynous, epigynous ovaries are there like this. Hypogynous means superior ovary, hypogynous means superior ovary, perigynous means of inferior or of superior, epigynous means ovary inferior. So this is the ovary. Below the ovary, floral parts are erases, and partial part of the ovary, the flower parts are erased, and above the ovary the floral parts are erased like this. So based on the arrangement of this, those are hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. Hypogynous is also called as superior ovary. Perigynous means of ovary of inferior or superior. Of superior, epigynous means ovary inferior. Okay ma, these are the colorful pictures showing hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous ovaries. Okay ma, so this is about the technical description of the flower. This is very useful for the classifying the families which belongs to the taxonomy. This is very important topic ma. Follow this video for better understanding. Okay, stay home and stay safe. Thank you.